All right, so we saw the beginning of the plagues in Exodus chapter 7, right? And we saw where the staff was turned into the serpent, and the Nile turned into blood, and Pharaoh's heart was very hard, even when the river began to smell. Okay, we're going to read chapter 8 now, and I'm going to start at, this is where the plagues get personal: frogs in the bed and lice on the skin, flies in their face. All right, but as we read, we'll recognize. So, just want the first reading to be done from chapter 8, verses 1 through to 11. Is Brother Petrus on? All right. I'd love to have the assistance in getting the reading of Shemot chapter 8, verses 1 to 11. Okay, and it goes like this, and it says, "And the Creator spoke to Moshe, Go to Pharaoh and say to him, Thus saith the Creator, let my people go so that they serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, see, I am smiting all your border with frogs. And the river shall swarm like with frogs, which shall go up and shall come into your house, and into your bedroom, and on your bed, and into the houses of your servants, and on your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading bowls. And the frogs shall come up on you, and on your people, and on all of your servants." And the Creator said to Moshe, "Say to Aharon, stretch out your hand with your rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up on the land of Mizraim." So Aharon stretched out his hand over the waters of Mizraim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mizraim. And the magicians did so with their magic, and brought up frogs on the land of Mizraim. And Pharaoh then called Moshe and Aharon and said, "Pray to the Creator to take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I shall let the people go slaughter to the Creator." And Moshe said to Pharaoh, "Explain yourself to me. When am I to pray for you, and for your servants, and for your people, to destroy the frogs from you, and your houses, and remain only in the river?" So he said, "Tomorrow." And he said, "Let it be according to your word, so that you know that there is no one like the Creator, or Elohim. And the frogs shall turn aside from you, and from your houses, and from your servants, and from your people. They shall remain in the river only." So there we have the first section of the reading, where there was frogs everywhere. This work we saw, it was done by, it was carried out by Aharon. And the instruction was simple and clear. Let my people go so that they serve me. We see that it is actually, and there's a consequence that was highlighted. If you refuse, I will strike all your territory with frogs. And we see Aharon, he's the one that stretches out his hand and brings up the swarm. So I wouldn't call it, he just gets to do a unique work, right? Any work that we get, no matter what the level is, for the Creator, is something that we should be glad and ready to do. So the frogs came up everywhere into the house, the bed, the oven, and the kneading bowls. And as usual, the magicians, they replicate the plague. Say they can. So they were able to make more frogs. Well, get more frogs to come into place, but they did not remove the frogs. So that in itself shows their limitation. We saw the frustration of Pharaoh. he got fed up with the frogs and he called Moshe and Aaron and said, please plead with the Creator to take out those frogs and let the people go. And he even picked a timing. He said, can it be done tomorrow? Because this by then it's maybe about 7 days and he couldn't take it anymore. Right? So the question is, why did Moshe pray, to ease upon somebody that deserved the punishment? And why would the Creator actually honor that prayer? So we see after that prayer, the frogs died out of the houses, villages, and fields. But the land was still smelly. The magicians could not undo it, and only prayer could actually undo it. So there was tension there. So the question I'm asking, why pray for someone who deserves punishment? Anyone can give that an attempt?
It's not that he wanted to but remember, he has other plagues that he wants to send with Pharaoh and also make an example of him and make a name for himself. But I think right here why Pharaoh, you notice there's an acknowledgement. Pharaoh is asking for mercy. Remember, at first was the awful God that I should let his people go. No, and the other 2 times he did not acknowledge, neither did he set his heart upon the things that happened, because his magician, instead of alleviating the problem, they compounded. They caused more problems to come. So they made the worse.
Yeah,
and so, as you rightly said, they could not stop it from happening. Nothing that they did could stop the frogs from coming. So here is probably looking into himself and thinking, oh wow, maybe this God is really powerful for real. So maybe I should have went to pray, ask him to stop it and maybe come something out.
Yeah. Yeah, I thanks for that perspective. At one stage I'm looking at them and say, wait, is this a game or something? You punish somebody and he pulls back and begs for cry and mercy, and the person gets that. Right? But when I really look at it, I'm seeing the patience of the Creator. And when I look deeper at it, I'm seeing the real evil heart and stubborn heart that Pharaoh had. Right? So we see the patience and the mercy coming out. Right? And that proved that not the magicians were the ones was the one in control. He was the one that answered and allowed for the plague to end. And show up Pharaoh, that his repentance is really kind of shallow, because as soon as the repentance came, as we read, or we read further, that's the more Pharaoh's heart became hardened again and again. Okay, thanks. So we'll read the other 12 through to 15. And it says, and Moshe and Aharon went out from Pharaoh. And Moshe cried out to the Creator concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. And the Creator did according to the word of Moshe. And the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. And when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not listen to them, as the Creator had said. Sometimes persons ask you to pray for them, and you do it, but you know that in the end it doesn't work unless the person actually believe. Well, that's my understanding, that a prayer won't work when you pray for somebody unless the person believes that the prayer will work. So we see here now, Moshe cry out to the Creator, and the frogs died, and the relief was real. They could actually sleep better in the house and be in their kitchen doing what they need to do. But it was not total relief because, of course, the frogs remained in the river, right? What the odor remained, and I think it's good that the odor remained because it's a reminder of the judgment that was upon them.
I agree with you, dear brother, because I'm looking at the fact that we could have just let the frogs jump away.
Yeah.
But they died. And the stink remained so that Pharaoh could at least ponder on it.
Yeah.
You know?
The lingering.
That's
Yeah.
a punishment right there, a fitting one. Because he's stubborn.
Right, and if we remember, I think it was Exodus chapter 7. Just the former verse, chapter, verse 4. I think it says, let me see, Exodus 7 verse 4. Just a quick reference to it. It suggests that it was actually told that, Pharaoh would respond. It says, and Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, and I shall lay my hand on Mizraim and bring my divisions and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Mizraim by great judgment. So he was told that Pharaoh was not going to listen, and he in fact did not listen. Right? And that reminds me of how sometimes a child behaves. A child with a short memory. I'll be good. You're punishing the child, and the child says, "Okay, I'll be good if you make the punishment stop." And the moment the punishment stop, the child forgets. Right.
It can also be looked at as also in the form of a con artist. Pharaoh had no intention of letting the people go. So if Moses stopped the frogs, he was just gonna continue. He was just playing them. I think that's what it was.
Yes. It's clear.
Innocent, but Pharaoh is not innocent. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, because when you look at verse 15, it says, when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he ardently desired, and he did not listen to them, as the Creator had said. So his reaction after the frogs plague actually show that temporary relief doesn't really equal to repentance. If you want somebody to know if somebody repents, you present that same temptation to them. When that same temptation is presented before them, they will actually yield. They will not yield to that temptation, right? He was so happy for the plague to stop, but his heart hasn't changed. And this proves what the Creator had said earlier about Pharaoh's stubbornness, right? So it's something that a stubbornness, a stiff-necked generation is written about many aspects in Scripture. All right, so we're going to look at the other plague now in verses 16 through to 19. 16 to 19. And the Creator said to Moshe, "Say to Aharon, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land, so that it becomes gnats in all the land of Mizraim." And they did so, and Aharon stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became gnats on man and beast. All the dust of the land became gnats in all the land of Mizraim. And the magicians did similarly with their magic to bring forth gnats, but they were unable, and their gnats on man and beast. The magicians then said to Pharaoh, "This is the finger of Elohim." But the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not listen to them as the Creator had said. All right, so we see the situation takes a turn here because they copied everything else. The blood, the serpent, the frogs, But when it came to a little smaller animal, That in terms of lice from the dust of the ground. I'm wondering why the magic couldn't work with that. You know? Any idea why is the third plague the one where the magicians finally say this is the finger of Elohim? Why they didn't see it in the other 3 plagues, but they see it in this one? And so this plague was like tiny biting creatures on both man and animal, man and beast. Spread out on all the people, and so nobody could ignore it. Everybody was affected by it. They tried, it's not like they say this is the hand of Elohim up front. They tried first. They tried, it didn't work. Their magic didn't work. They say, they realize that their power stops at a level. And whatever they did with larger signs, here they actually fail. This is the finger of Elohim. That's a powerful statement. They're accepting that the Elohim of the Hebrew, of the Israelites, stands predominant. And they up until now they would have thought that Moshe and Aharon were just using a higher form of magic than what their magic was. They thought that it's actually magic Pharaoh and no, not Pharaoh. They thought that it was magic Moshe and Aharon were using. But no, they realized that no, they were wrong. It's not magic. They had to admit that this thing that they're experiencing is divine. So with all this, it's striking to see. In verse 19 says, but the heart of Pharaoh was strengthened, and he did not listen to them as the Creator had said. Does this surprise? That after the 4th plague, he did not listen to them. Yeah. And we have many persons like that today. Strong-willed and arrogant and full of pride and haughty, and will not stop and recognize the Creator for who he is, in the world and in today. All right, let's read on from verses 20 through to 24. And I take it this is another plague. And the Creator said to Moshe, rise early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh as he comes out of the water, and say to him, thus said the Creator, let my people go so that they serve me. Or else, if you do not let my people go, see, I am sending swarms of flies on you and your servants and on your people and into your houses. And the houses of the Mitzrites shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they shall stand. And in that day I shall separate the land of Goshen in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, so that you know that I am the Creator in the midst of the land. And I shall put a ransom between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall be. And verse 24 says, and the Creator did so, and thick swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Mizraim. And the land was ruined because of the swarms of flies. All right, not just swarms of flies we saw in this, but we also saw a separation of Goshen. And my sister, you had suggested yesterday that all the plagues did not affect the children of Israel, right? It only affected Mizraim. But when I'm looking at this now, I'm wondering, why is it in this plague we see a separation of Goshen? Wasn't it that they were always separated from the earlier plagues? And then another thing I noticed, I don't know what is it about Pharaoh and early morning, but he also sent. Go ahead.
The fox didn't go to Goshen. Neither did the the blood affect them. But the flies, the lice did not affect them either.
Yeah.
You understand? So when he covered the land, the separation there, it means that the flies shall not go there. Because guess what? Flies, can go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're talking about flies. So he made sure that these flies would not affect Goshen.
Okay.
He's not saying that no other plagues affected them, but flies maybe was a different thing from the other plague, so he made sure they didn't go there.
Okay, understand. So, thank you. We recognize that Israel is a set apart people. And so, through all this, they must be watching and seeing the salvation of the Creator. Right? And we see the message that is being sent, it hasn't changed. Sometimes you hear about a news and you hear about a good news. And not with the Creator, not in the Torah. It's one news, one instruction, protecting his people at one special family. Verse 20 we see, let my people go so that they serve me. And if he doesn't want to let them go, the swarms will come, flies or mixed creatures, right? And we see in Deuteronomy 32 verse 24, it actually describes it as a teeth of beasts and the poison of serpents of dust. And this echoing the idea of creation actually turning against the evil forces, right? And in this particular plague, we see where there's a promise. Well, we see the distinction, right? And so right now in this world, that evil world that we're living in, this Babylonian system, as truth seekers, we ought to try to distinguish ourselves. We don't need to be into everything what everybody is into. All the institutions that present themselves to us as things to make our society better and to make our lives better, there sometimes lies an ulterior motive just to get your information and just to control you or to indoctrinate you. And so we must be distinguished, just like how the Creator set apart the land of Goshen where his people lived. We must make some efforts to live together so that no swarms will be there. There's another part in it that highlights that, something about the land. I think it's 22. The last part of verse 22, it says, no swarms of flies shall be there, so that you know what? That I am the Creator in the midst of the land. And when I'm seeing, I'm always seeing the Creator, but now I'm seeing in the midst of the land. Well, I always know that the Creator is omnipresent and he is everywhere. But some persons only think of the Creator as one being, in the heavens, on a high level. So to say that he controls the middle of the land is something that covers everything that is may have been seen as uncover. Verse 23, and it says, it's a key verse, it says, he puts a ransom between my people. I shall put a ransom between my people and your people. So it's two separate set of people. We try to distinguish peoples in this world today by race, gender, and all sorts of stuff. But, there are two sets of people in the world, people that serve the Creator and people don't. Simply put, he puts a ransom and a distinction. So we say the swarm comes to the land, it comes and it ruins the land, and but we see Goshen is protected. All praise to the Creator for that.
Have you ever seen a swarm of flies, brother?
Yes, many times.
Yes, and you notice sometimes they're in a particular area, just flying right there in that particular area.
They travel together.
So picture, Pharaoh and his men. And then when they look over and see Goshen, there are no flies there.
Yeah, yeah.
That in itself is a sign.
Yeah, man, that's powerful, man. Powerful. It can't, can't be replicated, and it's just settle one place.
Cannot be replicated.
One
and it
place.
Is set in one place.
So, and that's the question I was considering earlier. Why is the separation of Goshen in this plague so important?
Because each plague is showing Pharaoh something, and also the people of Egypt and the others. It is directly showing them, because then first the men, they could replicate the other plague, the blood, the snake, and the frog. But the dust, they couldn't replicate that one.
No, they couldn't.
And the men, when they had a meeting, you can say that they really had a meeting, and they said, "Boy, Pharaoh, this is really the honor because
This is the honor, Elohim."
You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
And then now, this one with the flying.
Yeah.
This one, no. They can surely see that there are no. You're looking at science, it's over the land of Egypt, there are flies. And it's on every house, on every people in the land of Egypt, there's flies. But when you look over, like a day when there's rain falling on one section of the land, and when you look on the other side, there's no rain.
Yes, so try as they may.
The Most High is making a distinction, and he's showing them. That's interesting, man.
Yes, very, very much so. Very much so.
That's awesome.
Well, it shows that the Creator is not just powerful, but he's precise. Right? He can judge Mizraim, and he can spare Israel at the same time. And that proves that, his covenant people are marked out even while living in the same land. So, while we don't really want to really go far from these people, even in the dungeon, even in the city or the inner city, he can protect his people, and we can stand out anywhere we're at. Even though we would love the ideal situation to all be at a one nice, peaceful, and tranquil place. The Creator can mark us out anywhere we're at. Yeah, that's very
exactly.
good.
And that is the reason why I said the plague did not touch Israel any at all. Because
That's right.
why would he afflict the people that he's trying to save?
That's right. All right, so we're going to look further at Pharaoh's reactions. So we're going to read the last few verses from 25 through to 32. Pharaoh then called Moshe and Aharon and said, "Go, slaughter to your Elohim in the land." And Moshe said, "It is not right to do so, for we will be slaughtering the abomination of the Mizrahites to our Creator, our Elohim. See, if we slaughter the abomination of the Mizrahites before the eyes, would they not stone us? Let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, then we shall slaughter to the Creator our Elohim as he commands us." And the Pharaoh said, "I am letting you go, then you shall slaughter to the Creator your Elohim in the wilderness. Only do not go very far away. Pray for me." And Moshe said, "See, when I leave you, I shall pray to the Creator. And tomorrow the swarms of flies shall depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. But do not let Pharaoh again deceive, not to let the people to go to slaughter to the Creator." And Moshe went out from Pharaoh and prayed to the Creator. And the Creator did according to the word of Moshe, and removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. No one remained. But Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time too, and did not let the people go. He is a stubborn fellow. Very stubborn. And, I think I want to blame Moshe a little, because why does he keep on praying for this guy? Even when Pharaoh keeps mocking and reneging on his agreement, on his commitment. There's so much mercy and so much patience shown to Pharaoh in this regard. Right? And the prayers are being answered. So I'm saying, if the prayer is being answered, doesn't it suggest that Pharaoh is a believer? Unless my understanding of prayer is wrong. How can somebody who does not believe in the Creator be prayed for to the Creator and get the healing or get the deliverance? And there's something I'm not getting. We see the actions of Pharaoh. When he's under pressure, you see he's negotiating. I don't know, how can you be losing a war and you negotiating? I'm going to let you go, but don't go too far. Well, no, first of all, he didn't say that. He said, look, you're going to slaughter, but you're going to slaughter in this space. Not realizing that, that is the worst thing, because even the Mizrahites would have stoned the Hebrews for sacrificing at that point. So, fortunately, Moshe was sharp and he pushed back and said, no, you guys, your God is the sheep. So we cannot slaughter your God in front of you. Right? That would be like provocation. It's just like somebody who eat meat and you tell the person that eat meat, oh, if you eat meat, you're sinning or whatever. That is like a provocation, because really it goes against what they believe. They must go full 3 days journey. I sorry I didn't get to take some time to figure out how far is 3 days journey. Is it like from Port Antonio to Montego Bay, or is it longer or shorter than that? It would be good to have an idea of what a standard 3 days journey is like. But I was encouraged a little when I saw Pharaoh agreeing, but when I look at the agreement, it's really a halfway agreement. I'll only let you go only if you don't go too far. So he said, look, Moshe, you can go towards the desert, and as soon as you see welcome to the desert, then that's where you stop, and don't go any further than that. Don't go deep down into it. But he is in no position to be negotiating. And that's why Moshe had to warn him, look, I'm telling you now, don't bother with the deception anymore. Right? And having told him that, he went ahead on his knees, well, I imagine, to pray for the Creator, pray to the Creator in an intense prayer. And we see where it was answered, because the swarms left, not one remained. I'm going to ask the question again. Does a mocker deserve more prayer?
No, sir. I don't think so. This man was mocking Moses and mocking the Creator. That's what he did. Because he had no intention of letting these people go. Even if he intended for them to go, he was to worship their God. He had no intention of letting them go as a nation of people, like freeing them. He doesn't have that in his mind.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He doesn't want to do that.
He's insincere. He's not genuine at all.
And he kept dealing with them deceitfully, even when they interceded on his behalf.
Yeah, well, yet.
So he doesn't deserve mercy to me.
Yeah, well, I don't believe that I should waste my prayers. I pray for somebody one time. The Creator is not deaf. He will hear. And if the person really believed, then it will work. Right? So, and I used to just pray for people randomly, growing up. And I realized, no, don't pray for people if they do not ask you to pray for them.
Exactly.
Right? Do not pray for people unless they ask you.
And wants to die, and then you're praying for them to live.
Exactly.
And they want to be out of their misery.
Exactly. Right, so we see the mercy and patience of the Creator throughout all this. And his prayers remove any excuses Pharaoh might claim. In the end, Pharaoh's repeated hardening only highlights the Creator's righteousness when the heavier judgments come. So I guess when the heavier judgments come, it really justified, because this guy, he really was making a mockery of things. Right? Any other thoughts on this chapter with the plagues? All right, just to wrap up on this chapter 8, now we're seeing the plagues deepen. We see the frogs invade every space while Aharon does the main work, and the magicians can only make things worse, not better. But when the frogs die, Pharaoh's short memory kicks in and he hardens his heart. Lice from the dust push the necromancers to admit, and I call these necromancers overmen, because I do not know what do they stand on, right? But they somehow admit that this is the thing of Elohim. Yet Pharaoh still refuses. So they're more smarter than Pharaoh, right? They pick up quick, they're quicker, they're sharper. Swarms of flies then devastate Mizraim while Goshen is spared, and marking a clear line between my people and your people. I'm so happy to be called by the name of the Creator, be His people, and being His people.
I think these men were scientists.
Scientists. That's a nicer name, yes. Scientists.
And why I say this is because maybe they were splicing things, or they created these frogs. They did something to cause these frogs to. It couldn't be that they just waved their hands and the frogs came up.
Yeah.
Right?
There's more to it.
Or the blood. They turned water into blood. They used chemicals. They were doing something. So I think they were scientists.
Yeah, well, that's thank you. That's a good way to put to them. My mind goes to the person who does a labor on a construction site. Whenever you ask those persons what kind of work they do, they say that they're engineers, right? And in fact, they are, because it involves some level of technical application. So just looking back at this story here, it's the clear line between my people, the people of Israel, and the people of Mizraim. Through it all, Moshe keeps praying for a king who kept on lying, but yet still the Creator kept on answering the prayer. And Pharaoh's heart hardened, and this exposed what, who he truly is. Right? So the pressure is turned up in this, we see, and it's done with precision, it's done with patience, right? And we see he drew the line around his people, and still giving Pharaoh chance after chance. So as we move on, remember, every plague is both a judgment on Mizraim and a lesson for Israel in who their Elohim really is. Right? So we are grateful for those lessons today. Well, thanks for sharing. Shalom.